Well, we're into California winter, Southern California winter, rain and clouds. And you would think that they were tornadoes and hurricanes, the way the Southern Californians act. And I'm struck again about so many people struggling to have free time. And my question is, to do what? What do they do in their free time? A lot of people I know are so stressed out in their life that they use their free time to recover. Right, Pia? What happened? Oh, you got sticky. Oh, no, all gone? Okay, good girl. So, free time is recovery time. Gaming, zoning out, scrolling, eating, sleeping. And what I was always geared to do once I started waking up. Ooh, I have to show you something. See if we can get it. There's a deer. There it is. Ooh, watching us. Oh, she loves to chase deer. That one's kind of far away though. Once I started waking up, the idea was to enjoy life. Work time, play time, argument time, recovery time, like all of it. It's like saying, I only like sunny days. Well, put that person in the desert and trust me, after a year or two, they're going to go, God, I wish we had some seasons. I wish we had rain, wind, something. So there's a balance point. And I'm not talking about having the career of your dreams and, okay, my video unceremoniously cut out on me. So I'm not talking about when I had a career of my dreams. At one point, I was working in a hospital folding laundry, and it was kind of a hoot because it was staffed by a bunch of Italian women from Italy, and very Italian, and this way. There you are. Good. And they'd been there forever, and they loved their job. And it was near the incinerator where they burned body parts. So it smelled really bad sometimes, like a crematorium. But the fun part was hanging out with these women, eating lunches, being immersed in the culture, etc. And then when I was getting my PhD, which was basically a nightmare, I had already learned basically everything that they were teaching, except for 2 courses. So my choice was to be filled with hatred and rage, which I had on some days, or to find a way to make it into something that worked. So I ended up asking professors if I could go slightly off course, like write a paper on something slightly different that was in the parameters of the subject matter of the class. But I had already learned it, and I didn't want to waste my time puking out a paper on something I already knew about. And I had people say to me, well, oh, you could have just gotten by, and why'd you make more work for yourself? Well, it wasn't more work, it was more enjoyment. If I'm going to spend time writing something, I don't want to just kiss someone's butt and get by. I wanted to use that time to learn. And all the professors let me do that. And I did some controversial work, and I got into some new areas of interest, and I learned something, and it was cool. It was great. I still didn't like having to get a PhD in general, but I needed that piece of paper at the time. Now there's a balance point with this, because if you're a people pleaser, like I am, less so these days, lots of work, but codependent, people pleaser, putting others before me, that sort of thing, I had a tendency to make anything work. So, for example, at certain jobs, I would overgive and I would be assigned extra work. I wouldn't get pay or title. And then someone else would step in or get assigned and they would get a promotion. And I would just stand there like, what the heck? Because I didn't push for it and I didn't think about that. So there are other examples of working under crappy conditions and not complaining. And capitalist companies and nonprofits will do this too, though. They'll eat you alive and spit you out. So I had to find a balance between not making everything work. So if you've come from a dysfunctional family or you're in a dysfunctional relationship, you often learn to make everything work at your own cost. Sometimes through self-medication, sometimes through just shutting yourself down, betraying yourself, and making it a happy place for everybody around you. And sometimes you have to do that. Like if you're in jail or somebody's dying of cancer and you just have to buckle down and try to make the best of it. So I'm talking about finding a balance point between not always looking for free time to do what? Do you have a passion? Do you have a hobby? Do you have something that fills you up? Something that makes you healthy? Or are you really just wanting to get away from your life with, quote, free time, downtime? Well, then I would suggest trying to restructure your life and or your approach to your life so that you're not craving downtime, but you find moments of great, incredible, wonderful things happening in a not perfect situation, which, by the way, is most of life. Most of life just isn't perfect. And balance that to the point that you don't take something dysfunctional and make it work because it's too hard to speak up. You don't want to rock the boat. You don't want to seem ungrateful, etc. And with all things that we balance, count on making mistakes. It's going to happen. You're going to go too far one way, overgiving, and then you're going to have to pull back, and people are going to get mad, and the relationships are going to change, and it's going to get upsetting and chaotic and crazy for a while, or feel crazy. And then it will rebalance. Or if you have been shutting yourself down, numbing yourself out, saying nothing, and just, nose diving into free time, recovery time, then you might need to do some work to find those moments that work. So all the colleges I taught in were not perfect by a long shot. But what was great was the classroom. And that wasn't always great. But it was exciting and dynamic and interesting. And most of my colleagues taught one or two subjects over and over and over. And they said, yeah, then I have less prep time. So, I don't have to work as hard. Which was okay. What did they do with their free time? Well, some were artists and they were doing their art. But some were shopping. Some were gaming. And some just started getting fatter and fatter and fatter. I'm like, why would you want to do less work unless there's something else you wanted to do? Be with your family, go after, a passion. I taught 7 subjects across 5 departments. Prep time for each one of those. And change the material every quarter. People are like, what's wrong with you? Like, I like learning. I want to keep it interesting. If I'm interested, the students are interested. And besides, I'm at work. I want work to be cool and exciting. I don't want to have to recover from it. So people think, when you get there, whatever your there is, more money, relationship, career of your dreams, that everything works out. But it doesn't. You just get a new set of problems. That is life, yin and yang. Problems, solving problems. Fun, challenge. It's always there. My meditation teacher said once, don't be in such a hurry for enlightenment. He said, the stronger you get, the bigger the challenges. The challenges increase to match your level of development. And that's Eastern thought, not New Age. So work on creating moments, finding bits of happiness that you can link together to make a necklace. And if you can't find any, then maybe you need to make some changes. But there's always a question, do I need to change inside of me, or are the externals really not okay? And that's a little bit of a tricky question, because a lot of times we go, if I just had a new job, a different partner, more money, live somewhere else, it would be better. Wrong. Never works. Not for any length of time. So mostly I would say, check on your inside work first. Get yourself right first. Assume that the universe has put you somewhere that's appropriate. That you have created a life for yourself to challenge you to be a bigger and better soul. And that means sometimes it's effort and sometimes effortless. Sometimes lots of fun and sometimes lots of work. So instead of looking to get away and to feel better by changing your externals, maybe look at, what are you learning? What do you think you're being challenged to learn? How can you tackle that lesson? How can you find moments of joy and happiness no matter what? And then the universe will typically flow in a different external for you for the next chapter. If any of you have ever seen It's a Beautiful Life, if you haven't, you might want to see it. Got a lot of criticism. It's a story about an Italian family that gets swept up in the concentration camps. And the criticism by the Jewish community was, there's no way that this family could have adapted the way they did, and it's making light, it's making fun of, it's romanticizing the camps. And I could see that point of view. However, I had a friend who told me when I mentioned that movie that he was a Polish Jew and he had been in camps with his parents, and they had performed just like in the movie. They had turned the camp into a different experience for him, so that he didn't realize he had been in a camp until he was much older, and his parents talked to him about it. It's a great movie to see, to understand the effort it takes to make the best of a situation, no matter what. Not to suppress your feelings, but to learn what's going on, to get strong, but most of all to change your internal energy so you're ready for the next step. Because everything happens to us to get us ready for the next step. I know there's going to be a big argument about, what if I was raped as a child? Well, that is a completely different discussion. I'm not going to touch that right now. But I'm not saying that you deserve that or you need to make the best of that. Hoshi, where are you going? All right, I'm going to turn, but she doesn't. That's a deeper discussion. Another film to look at is Pursuit of Happiness. And I forget who the star was, but it's based on a true story of an African-American man who goes homeless with his son and wins an internship into getting trained to work in the stock market and be a trader and handle portfolios. And what he has to do to rise himself up in the situation. Two great movies to see to think about rising up as far as you can before just jumping to, if only I change my externals, all my problems would be solved. Changing externals does help. Sometimes it is time to change the external, but sometimes you have to change first. When do you know which is which? This is why I run meditation groups. So you get your internal compass really strong, your intuition strong, your connection to spirit strong, so you can better answer that question for yourself. Check my website for groups Wednesday night, Sunday morning, and hope to see you. drmarie.org, drmarie, M-A-R-I-E.org. I'm going uphill, huffing and puffing. Okay, more later.